Dear viewers, hello and shalom. Reaching out to the young generation is a very, very important aspect of our work here at the Israeli Consulate General in Munich. As a part of this, naturally working with the academia, with universities and with students is especially dear to us. We are working to connect German and Israeli universities and students in different projects. The idea behind all those projects is to have students and lecturers, researchers, professors from both universities work together on common challenges, on common projects, be it research, be it solving challenges given by different companies. The important thing is that, first of all, they work together, get to know each other in a very direct and personal way. And of course, it also brings immense advantages to their field of research, to the benefit of all of us as a society. Unfortunately, the contact and the travel restrictions due to the COVID-19 pandemic have also a high impact on our academic life, and especially on the preparation of joint research program. Conferences, face-to-face meetings, mutual visit, and also exchange program for students unfortunately cannot take place. The whole university life, seminar, lectures, what we know as traditional academic life, had to be transformed, to some extent at least, to the digital world. In short, the entire academic life changed tremendously within just a couple of months. The German and the Israeli experience in that context is especially interesting. Both countries managed the pandemic quite well. At the same time, while the EU is slowly reopening its internal borders, it is not clear yet when partners from Israel and Germany will be able to meet again. Dr. Holzmann from the Academic College Tel Aviv Yaffo and Professor Jens Penzmann from the University of Applied Science Neu-Ulm are discussing today their own experiences, highlighting differences and similarities. They are also going to give us an insight into their cooperation plans and explain how to set up international research programs in times of Corona. Thank you very much, Vered and Jens, for being with us today. A special thank you goes also to Dr. Anna Abelmann from the Bavaria-Israel Scientific Coordination Office at the Bavarian Research Alliance BayFOR. She will be moderating this webinar, and also I want to thank her for her work in her position as a point of contact for the Bavarian-Israeli collaborations in the academic and research fields. Numerous projects in which stakeholders from Bavaria and from Israel work on scientific collaboration have already been launched thanks to their support. Now I would like to hand the microphone to Dr. Anna Abelmann and to our two speakers, and invite you all to have a very interesting discussion with, I'm sure, very useful and enlightening insights for all of us. All the best and bis bald.
Hello and good afternoon, also from my side. Thank you very much for this very kind introduction and for giving us this platform. So my name is Anna Abelmann and I'm working at the Scientific Coordination Office, Bayern-Israel, and together with Dr. Holzmann from the Academic College of Tel Aviv Yaffo and Professor Jens Penzmann from the University of Applied Science, Neu-Ulm, I would like to welcome you to this webinar today, which focuses on Mission Impossible, international academic cooperation in times of Corona. And of course, you are very welcome to participate actively in this webinar or in this discussion by asking or adding your questions to the chat below this video. And I think by the end of our discussion round, we're going to address your questions as well. So what are we talking about today? The COVID-19 pandemic turned the world of international research cooperation upside down. International academic cooperation deeply depends on mutual exchange, for example, during conferences, workshops, meetings, or just sitting together, having a coffee and discussing different ideas. And of course, it also offers many opportunities for students. A large part of students from Israel and Germany are taking part, for example, in exchange programs every year, or meet international guest lecturers from all over the world during their studies. The travel restriction due to the COVID-19 pandemic stopped all of those activities. And as we don't know when the situation will go back to normal, we have to ask ourselves, how does international academic cooperation in times of Corona look like? Is it a mission impossible, or does it even offer new opportunities? How will the academic world look like in the post-Corona time? And today, of course, most importantly, how are the German and Israeli perspectives and experiences here? Those are questions which Verit and Jens are going to discuss during the next 45 minutes. And they both can actually tell from their own experience, as they both started to discuss different cooperation ideas just a few weeks before the beginning of the Corona crisis, which forced both of them into a completely new kind of international cooperation without meeting face to face and without even being able to plan when to meet in person. And actually, and this is something I always have to remind myself when I talk to the two of you, they actually have never met in person. So,
not yet.
Not yet, exactly. So to start with our discussion today, first of all, I would like to ask you to tell us maybe a little bit about your institute and your research focus. And then I would like to know how your working environment changed since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic in early March. What was or what were the biggest challenges of your institute, and how did it adjust to this new situation? Maybe Verit, please.
Okay, thank you and good afternoon. I am Verit Holzmann from the Academic College of Tel Aviv Yaffo. The college is located in Tel Aviv, in the border of Tel Aviv and Jaffa. We have about 4,000 students studying in 5 different schools. We have the School of Behavioral Science, School of Computer Sciences, School of Nursing, School of Government and Society, and School of Management and Economics. Me personally, I am a teacher, a senior lecturer at the School of Management and Economics, and my research interest and teaching areas are mainly in strategy, innovation and entrepreneurship, and project management. So this is just to give, a very brief review about my personal activity in the college. I might just add some information about the role that I have in our college. I also serve as the Director of Research, Development and Innovation. It means that I am the head of Research Authority, and I'm also responsible for the development of academic international relations. So I think before we will talk a little bit more about how we experience those changes, maybe Jens, you will just introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you, Verit. And thank you, Anna, for that nice introduction. I'll try to make it brief. I'm a professor of marketing, branding, and strategy, and my research focuses on branding and customer insight research in regard to startups. And when I do research, I do it through the lens of archetypes. Archetypes are something social, psychological, and cultural anthropological. And this is why I basically do qualitative research, because you can do archetypes very well with qualitative research. So that's something about me. Our university is a University of Applied Sciences, Neu-Ulm University of Applied Sciences, in short, HNU. And the HNU wants to become an entrepreneurial university. That's our vision, right? Our Vice President, Thomas Bayer, has initiated several projects which go into that direction. And one initiative is a newly founded institute, which is called the Institute for Entrepreneurship. My colleague Daniel Schalmo had the idea and I joined him, and we've founded this institute 8 weeks ago or something. This institute does 3 things. One is international research, mainly third-party funded. 2 projects we will try to do together with Verit. We will apply for these 2 programs, but we'll talk about that later on, I think. And the second pillar in that institute is on international teaching as well. We would like to do lots of things together with Verit and the Academic College of Tel Aviv. For example, doing joint online courses, offline courses, up to, and that's our vision, maybe one day we will have a, I don't know, double, triple, quadruple degree in international entrepreneurship, a master's program maybe, or a bachelor's program. So these are, but this is the second pillar. And the third pillar, and then I'll stop talking, is on what we call transformative initiatives, which means that we will, and I know that Verit and the Academic College of Tel Aviv has something similar. They call it industrial academic relationships, I think, but she'll talk about that later, I think, and will be more precise, but they are similar to us. Their DNA is similar. They are a college, which makes this collaboration so interesting for both of us, I think. So the third pillar is about transformative initiatives, and here by I mean nurturing startups set up by our own students or set up by mixed teams from our partnering universities and our university, maybe from the Academic College of Tel Aviv, and we have mixed teams and set up startups. And that could lead, that would be another vision we have at the HNU, that could lead to a university-based incubator, for example. Well, that's something, in Germany we say that's Zukunftsmusik, future music, so let's not focus on that. We have 4,000 students as well, so we have a similar size to the Academic College of Tel Aviv. We've got 3 faculties. One is on health management, the other one deals with information management, and the third one, that's the faculty I come from, is the faculty for business and economics. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I might add just in a very few sentences, just a short description of actually how our relationships has developed in the very last few months. Actually, we in the Academic College of Tel Aviv, Yaffo, we are working on developing our international relations with all kinds of universities abroad. We have about 11 agreements with universities in the US, in Europe, China, India, and Australia. And of course, one of the main topics that we are interested in is entrepreneurship. I say that this is some kind of an obvious, because I guess as maybe most of us know, Israel is branded as the startup nation. And this is something that we really like to deal with, and we think we have a lot to contribute on this aspect. So actually, one day I was approached by somebody that knew Jens, and he told me that Jens and a group from the University of New Ulm, they are planning to come to Israel. And they might be interested to visit in our campus. And I said, of course, we will be happy to welcome them in our college. And actually, we had a very good plan and everything was set, but then the corona happened. And actually, the visit, of course, was canceled. And by that time, we started just to communicate through digital communication media, mainly Zoom. And we thought, okay, if the visit was canceled, what does it mean? What should we do right now? I mean, of course, one of the obvious solutions would have been just to cancel everything and wait and see. But Jens and me, we decided that maybe it is a good opportunity just to talk in the meantime. And I think this was the beginning of actually a great friendship, even though it is still a remotely one, because we actually took this crisis and made it into an opportunity, because we used all the time that we had, and as you know, all of us had a lot of time during those few months, and we managed to schedule several meetings, online meetings, again and again, Some of them included only the both of us. Some of them included some of our colleagues in our universities and colleges. Some of them included also additional partners. We will elaborate about that a little bit later. But actually, we took this very challenge and we made it into an opportunity. And we just managed to use the digital communication to make the best out of it. And I think this is something that all of us, we can just think how we can manage, because it makes all of us much more available most of the time. I mean, we don't have to plan now a visit to Germany, which will take us, you know, a few months to plan, and then 1 week to be there, and then to come back, and then we will collaborate again. So of course, there is a lot of value to meet face to face and to have those discussions in person. But if we don't have that, so we must find some kind of other options. And I think this kind of digital communication just made up some of those difficulties, because it made us much more available all the time. We could have discussed our ideas again and again, and to invite people from additional universities as we did. And actually we have several plans, and we will talk about them a little bit later. Yes.
Yeah, maybe Anna, would you like to ask something, or can I add something? How would you wish to proceed?
Please add something, and then I proceed with another question.
Okay. Well, I'd like to add something, because I've never met Verit, but it doesn't seem like that, because I've got the feeling that I know her quite well only via Zoom, because Verit, today she's Zooming from some other room, but the past 2 or 3 months she Zoomed from her own home office, and I saw her study, and I saw her very well structured bookshelves in the background. I saw the window to the garden. I always ask, how's the weather in Tel Aviv, etc. So I've got the feeling that I know her quite well, although I've never met her. If we had met in Tel Aviv, we would have had a working session at the Academic College of Tel Aviv, or had more than one working session. We probably would have gone out in the evening and gone to some restaurants, but she wouldn't have invited me to her private house. Via Zoom, it was possible. So Zoom works, and not only Zoom, of course, Teams and GoToMeeting and WebEx and all the other formats work surprisingly well in international collaboration. I was surprised myself, because I'm really a face-to-face person. I like to shake hands, and I like to look into the eyes of the others, and I like to interpret gestures and mimics, etc. But I must admit, Zoom works surprisingly well. Okay.
So we are already almost directly in the discussion about your concrete projects. But first, I would like to take one step back. And as today, it's like the mid of June. So the lockdown, or the beginning of the lockdown in Germany, is almost 3 months ago. Israel was a little bit more early. And from what I would expect is that this lockdown did not just have like an incredible influence on your personal life, and of course on your corporations you planned around that time, but I think also very much influenced the entire campus life. So maybe if you could make one step back and just if you could give us an impression how those changes influenced the general academic life on your campus, for example, in terms of teaching, in terms of dealing with colleagues and students. Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I think what happened is just, as you said, just almost one day, we had to change everything that we were used to. In Israel, we were already at the beginning of this semester. I mean, it was 3 weeks into the semester when it was decided that everybody should stay at home from this point on. In our college, actually, the transformation from in-class lectures to online teaching was over a weekend. So the college administrative and IT department, they took charge of that, and they installed all the technology that is needed, and they provided all kind of training for all the faculty. And actually it was on Thursday that it was decided, and Sunday morning, all the classes were delivered by Zoom. So it was really, really quick. And actually everybody just went into this process. At the beginning, it was really difficult for all the lecturers. I think it is common to all the lecturers all over the world. Our students at the beginning were very enthusiastic about this. They could have the opportunity to stay at home and still being in class, whatever that means. When you see something you know, on your computer, when you are sitting in your living room or somewhere else in your home. They were very enthusiastic, very satisfied from this tool. After a while, it became apparent that it is not that easy, but we had to manage. Until now, we are almost at the end of our semester. I mean, our semester is going to end actually this week, and we are still teaching everything online. The campus is open, but mainly administrative staff attending the college. No faculty and almost no faculty and no students. And we are right now getting all the arrangements for the exam sessions, because how we can ensure that there will be not too many students in the same room and things like that. So some of the exams will be online, some of them were changed a little bit, some of them will be somehow divided. So of course we have to make a lot of adjustments. It is not easy. And I think Jens will say a little bit about how it looked like in Germany and in your own university. But just one more sentence is that I think that all the faculty members are now much more experienced in what does it mean to teach online. Of course, it is not a virtual course. We are not still talking about overall or complete virtual courses. That should be much more sophisticated and much more enhanced, but still we have some kind of indication what does it mean and how we can get prepared to that, to this moment.
Just one minor questions. Did you had any online classes or digital teaching classes before March, or was it really, did you really start from the scratch?
We almost didn't have anything. I mean, we had one course that was delivered, and actually it is delivered for several years by now, which is a total online course that actually it is an international course that we are doing with our partners from England and from France. It is a very successful one, and now it can be, you know, some kind of an example that we can take, or some lessons from that, to see how we can do more courses like that one.
Okay.
Yes, we did have digital courses as well before Corona in our executive education. I think we've have quite a lot of online courses running there, but for our, let's say, normal students, we didn't have many, maybe one or two, I don't know, but really that was offline. But it has changed 100%. So it didn't take us a weekend. So here you can see that Israel is a startup nation. They just start and do it very quickly, rapidly. It took us 4 weeks to set up our semester and to turn fully digital. But I think 4 weeks is quite short, really, because it took us from the 20th of March to the 20th of April. And since then, everything is digital, and it works smoothly. I've just talked to our dean, Elmar Steurer, over lunch, and asked him how well it all works. And he says it works very well. Students accept it, appreciate the online courses, but we can see here that the lesser able students seem to drop out more easily, right? So we don't have any hard numbers yet, because we haven't conducted a survey yet, because we are right in the middle of the semester. In Tel Aviv, you've finished, or you will finish soon, but we are right in the middle. So we haven't got any hard data yet, but our feeling is that online courses make students' life more unjust, right? The social classes we would have thought we would have overcome through universities of applied sciences, because they are particularly suited for students who come from non-academic households, and we experience now that online courses make the gap wider again, which is probably not good. But we will have to analyze that later on. But for myself, nothing really changed through the last 3 months, because I every morning cycled to university, to my office. I didn't see anybody, so I couldn't infect anybody. No one could infect me. That was good. I could talk to Verit via Zoom, which was good. Every week we have 1 or 2 Zoom meetings. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to talk to Verit. So my communication turned digital as well, and I had lots of time, because our journeys were called off. The journey to Tel Aviv in May, and Verit was thinking of coming over in April as well, and my journey to Kenya in September, and some other journeys as well, were all called off, were all cancelled. So I had lots of time, and I produced publications. I planned to just do one, and I sort of did 2 now. So I was very productive, and personally, nothing really changed. I cycled to university every morning. I'm not the home office type guy. I like to sort of physically distinguish between private life and work life. So I always cycle to my office. Yes, but I know lots of my colleagues have done home office anyway before Corona. They do it now, and will do it in the future, of course, as well. But I'm not that type. Okay, thank you.
So I think the time question maybe is something which changed due in the last 3 months, in that sense that some people maybe have now more time to focus on certain fields. And that's kind of what you did also. You already mentioned that you're working on different projects which you want to develop together. And I also already mentioned that your cooperation very coincidentally kind of started parallel to the pandemic outbreak we're facing now. So maybe you could tell us a little bit more concrete about the planned projects. Of course, not too concrete, because you don't want to share any classified information or something. And also how this cooperation is different from other or previous international cooperation, which you maybe had before the current situation.
Okay. Okay. So I will talk about our one of the 2 proposals that we are working on. So we are talking about Erasmus Plus strategic partnership proposal. I might say just as an introduction that our college was involved in several Erasmus Plus projects, and I personally manage several Erasmus Plus projects. So we know the framework. Some of them are Erasmus Plus capacity building in higher education. Others are Erasmus Plus strategic partnership. When we started our talking, we realized that we, as Jens said before, we have several mutual interests, and we found the topic of entrepreneurship of main interest for both of us, or both of our institutions actually. And we wanted to see how we can take the strengths of each one of us and provide some kind of a new program that will take advantage of this synergy that we can offer. And from this, we developed the idea about how to create a network of universities that will promote the topic of entrepreneurship in the context of mainly social impact. Because I think the society and the community in general are one of our main strategic concerns, and the same is true for New Ulm University. So we thought that since we are both interested in entrepreneurship and we are concerned about the society and the community in which we live in, then we can develop the idea around that. So we are talking about global entrepreneurship in the context of social impact. This is, of course, just the title, as you said. We will not give all the information about that because we are still in the process of planning our proposal. But first of all, it was developed, as we said, just during those Zoom meetings. And then we thought about what will be the best partners for our consortium. And again, based on those talks that we had, we just started to see who are the partners that we know a little bit more about, that might be relevant specifically for this project. And we invited partners from Greece and Italy and Ethiopia to join us to the consortium. And we are now planning, we are working on planning this proposal. And again, one of maybe the easiest thing that the Corona provided for us is the working through Zoom, because we also had the opportunity to work with everybody online in a very short notice, actually, to start the actual development of the proposal. So even though we still have pretty much enough time to work on the proposal, because the submission is planned for a few months from today, it was a really good idea to start working on that right now. And even though those possibilities were available before the Corona, I mean, nothing new by those communication channels, we didn't use them. Before the Corona, we were waiting until all of us would have the opportunity to meet with each other, to sit together, to develop the plan, to discuss everything in details. Now that we didn't have that option, we just started to work like that. And it turned out to be very successful. And I might also add in this opportunity, very thanks to you, Anna, because I think the connection that you made and the support that you provide to us during this whole process is very, very meaningful and really made it much more easier for us to develop this idea.
Thank you very much.
Yes, maybe I can add something, because Anna was the one who suggested to us to apply for the Erasmus Plus Strategic Partnership Program and the Eureka program, and as a preliminary project to apply for BayFOR, because of course Zoom is good and Zoom is fun, but we eventually we want to meet face to face, and BayFOR might give us the money to invite the team members of the Erasmus Plus Strategic Partnership Program application team. We might be able to welcome you to Neu-Ulm for a 2 days workshop, and then do the concrete contents for the application. And maybe it'll change then again. Momentarily, we say we want to do something on entrepreneurship and social impact. Maybe we have to make it more concrete because we have got the Ethiopian perspective there. Maybe we can integrate this perspective more. We'll see. So everything is not it's not fully worked out yet. It's all in the doing, right? But Anna was the one who suggested that, and maybe I can say something about the person who brought Verit and me together. That was Tal Berman. That's someone we know from Tel Aviv. Verit knows him. I know him from past journeys to Tel Aviv, and he's brought us together. So that was very fruitful, and I'm very lucky and very happy that it turned out that way, because it's great fun working together with Anna and with Verit, who's very inspiring and reliable. That's very good. Very good. I like that.
I'm very glad that you're mentioning the plans to actually meet face to face at some point. because maybe like a combination of using being very open towards technologies like Zoom, and maybe at some point also having the opportunity to meet face to face. Maybe the combination might be specifically fruitful. Do you, Jens, do you see any specific differences between how this kind of cooperation started and how previous cooperation started when one did not maybe rely so much on digital conference tools or used more the opportunity to actually meet face to face?
Yes, I think it's a matter of speed. I think we accelerated because of Zoom, because we had to do it digitally. Otherwise, we would have had a journey to Tel Aviv and would have met and meet and greet and all that. And then slowly we would have started from there, would have taken it from there, and would have developed ideas about how to collaborate. And through Zoom, we just did what we did, and we did it very fast. So that's the difference. I'm really surprised how well Zoom works, and I think that's something which will stick. You know, digital collaboration, international collaboration digitally, that will stick.
All right.
Did I answer your question, or did I say something wrong?
No. I absolutely answered your question.
Okay.
I'm wondering if you would like to go a little bit more into your planned research cooperations, or shall we maybe move to the current situation on your campus? Is there anything?
No. I'd like to add something, because one program Vera talked about is the Erasmus Plus Strategic Partnership Program. The other program we would like to apply for is Eureka, which is a bilateral project only between Israel and Germany. We'd need 2 companies, 2 SMEs, up to 499 employees, which have a mutual interest in research and development and produce a prototype within 2 years, which would be marketable in Europe, Israel, or Germany. Vered and I would like to accompany this project academically, but the main focus is to find companies and find maybe a company in Germany and a startup from Israel and do the matching. Momentarily, we are trying to find matches, which is not that easy because of Corona, because everybody has got other threats momentarily. It's more about how do I get cash flow? How do I get cash? And it's not about I want to invest in research and development at the moment, but we're quite positive that we will succeed because the deadline is the end of November. Until then, we'd like to have 2 partners, and Vera and I would like to do the entrepreneurial academical side to it. And that's the second project we are applying for, and I'm quite well. I really hope we will win both projects, because that would be like Christmas and Easter together.
I guess maybe the current situation is a bit more difficult for SMEs, speaking financially. So maybe you can tell us, or you will know in half a year from now, how it developed in this direction, and maybe even so international research cooperation goes quite smooth on like in your field. Maybe for them it's a little bit more difficult.
Yeah.
Maybe as you already spoke a little, and as you already mentioned, how the current situation is perceived by your students, and as Vered now is basically at the end of her semester, and also Neu-Ulm, the semester won't last for just a couple of more weeks. How did, in general, how did your students perceive the change into the digital world, let's say, and what are the current plans for the next semester? Do you think the next semester will be back to normal, or will it be like a mixture, or will it be like the current semester? What do you think? Or are plans already concrete, or will it be more flexible?
Okay, I might say that, of course, no one of us really knows what exactly will it look like. I mean, everything can happen just as it happened before. So we don't know. But I think based on what we know today, we assume that there will be some kind of a change in the way that we are teaching and our students are learning. And mainly, I think the main trend that we see is that most faculties are talking about designing some kind of a hybrid course. So it means that it will have some components that will be delivered in class, because it is important to see our students. It is also important for our students to see each other. I mean, part of the reason that they enroll to the university or to the college is to have some social connections. And I think we do not have to underestimate that. So it is important. So this is one aspect. The other aspect, it is important for us as lecturers to see our students, to see how they react, to see their immediate feedback, which is something that is much more difficult online. However, we can take advantage of the opportunities that the online teaching can offer us. So probably the best way will be to develop some kind of hybrid courses that integrate both components. And on this aspect, I would also might add that I think this kind of cooperation will probably also develop for international collaboration. I mean, we talk a lot about student exchange, and student exchange, of course, it's something that all of us are interested in, and our students are interested in that. But again, at least right now, it is a little complicated. So we have to see what we can do. And I think that if we will be able to offer our students some kind of student exchange experience, even though it is not totally the same, of course, but it might have other added values. So at least some of the courses can be delivered, maybe partially online and partially in campus by each one of the professors in each one of the universities that are cooperating. And still the students will have the option to work together, to study together with their peers in the other university. So I think, you know, again, it might be an opportunity. Of course, it is not the ideal solution, but how we can make the most out of what we already have. So I think this is, at the end, will be some kind of hybrid courses mainly. Not all of them, of course, it's not relevant to all the fields. Some of them it is more difficult, some of them it's more easy. We will have to see.
Yeah, I think I can agree. I hear an echo. I don't know why. Okay, better now. I think I fully agree. What we will see is what we knew before, but now it'll become concrete, is blended learning concepts. And I suppose in the long run, we will have 70% online courses and 30% face-to-face courses. That's what I think would the future bring. Of course, I'm not Jesus, but maybe that'll be the case. And also we will see a boost in internationalization, because it has become very easy to internationalize through digitalization. I mean, we've seen, Berit and I've seen it, and Anna, Berit and I have seen it, how easy it is to apply for global projects with a global team via Zoom. And of course, we can transfer this to students as well. So we will see double, triple, quadruple degrees, because we can do blended learning, because they can have like Berit said, students from Tel Aviv, for example, can have the international flair without having to travel to Neu-Ulm, and the other way around. Of course, we have to travel too, because we're human beings, we're social beings, and we want to shake hands, etc. I said that before. But through digitalization, we will have a boost in internationalization. And I say that knowing that governments, after COVID-19, might see differently, because governments might now tend to be more nationalistic, and set up boundaries. And I hope that will not be successful, because international research is definitely not about boundaries. It's about well, it's not about boundaries. It's quite the opposite. I can't find the right words. It's quite the opposite to setting up boundaries. It's about setting or having a horizon and widen your horizon. That's what international research is about. And I think that would be interesting to see in the future how politics would act differently to international universities and academic research, because that might be a contradiction in the future, because research is always political, and that might pose a problem. I don't know. I hope not, because I think, for example, that, and then I'll be finished, that globalization is something really precious, because it makes wars less possible, because it's all interwoven. China wouldn't attack America because then they wouldn't get back their money, and the US wouldn't attack China because then they wouldn't have their smartphones, because Apple basically is produced in China, etc. So globalization is good for us, and I hope that is nothing which will stop in the future. We might have to change the parameters, but I hope globalization will not become something like I don't know whether that exists in English, but I'd just say provincialization. That would be bad.
I just want to add a few sentences very shortly. And following what Jens just said, I think that probably we'll see in the academia in general, in research and in teaching, some kind of direction that will have to find the balance between the local, the national, and the international, and how all of those are going to interact each other in a very, probably or hopefully, a good way. And maybe I will allow myself to be a little bit optimistic and say that I think that also this situation that we are all in, get all of us, everybody, everywhere, to be more aware about the social needs and about the community and about people. So also in research and in teaching, I think we will see now more attention to those topics. At least as I said, I hope so. And maybe also the digitalization that we see, that we use for teaching, will not only be used just to get those technical issues. Maybe again, we can use that to do some good. For example, maybe there will be some solution that will help our students, also those with some kind of disabilities or some difficulties, to get the learning process more personalized, for example. So we have to see what kind of directions can be explored to find, you know, the right or the good solution in the future.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. As we are very slowly getting to the end of this webinar, I'm quite happy that we're already talking about the future, because this would be, I think, the last section of questions I think we should address here, because the future is like a highly relevant field. And you already said quite a lot of how you imagine international research cooperation in the future, and how you think international cooperation would look like in the post-corona period. But maybe you could be a little bit more concrete in two things. One, what do you think? How will we be in a year from now? How will your personal cooperation and like international academic cooperation in general look like now? And do you think that maybe also your private behavior towards how to deal with international research cooperation, in that sense of traveling somewhere for giving a lecture, how do you think this could change? Will you maybe travel less because you think it's not that necessary, because it can be done via online courses, or would you expect to go completely back to normal once all the restrictions will be taken away?
Well, if you don't want to say anything, Berit, then I'll say something. Okay. I think there are, I mean, as we can't see into the future, we'd probably have to, realistically, we'd have to talk about scenarios. And there are two scenarios. One is this, as I said before, this academic research will become, this digitalization we've experienced through the Corona crisis will boost international research through digitalization. That is one thing. So I imagine that we will have many more projects, international research projects in the future with more diverse team members. To be concrete, our team, there is someone from the university, from Greece, from Athens, someone from Arba Minch, there is someone from Tel Aviv, there is someone from Neu-Ulm, and there is someone from Milan. That's quite diverse. And I think that'll be, that'll become regular in the future. So that is one scenario. And in 1 year's time, speaking of me personally, I hope, of course, that we will have the two projects, and that we will then can do real research together, not talking about research, but doing research for the better of the world. And I think that is something that might change too. That's the positive scenario. As Berit said, we might rethink globalization. We might think about globalization as something precious. We might think of globalization as something sustainable, or we have to keep sustainable through slowing down the climate change, through finding better solutions for health issues, through finding better solutions for, let's say, Ethiopia and African countries, enabling them to set up their own businesses, etc. So that might be a positive scenario. The negative scenario, as I mentioned before, might be that governments, not all of them, I don't think Germany would do that, but other countries, I'm not talking about a special country here, but we all know which country I'm talking about. I just say orange. Maybe those countries will set up boundaries, and that will have an effect on research as well, because governments give money to research institutions. And that could be an issue in the future, that we don't get enough money, for example. Maybe because of now everybody has piled up debts. Maybe research budgets will have cuts, so that would be bad too. So that would be a bad scenario as well. So I can't make up whether I tend to the positive scenario or to the negative scenario. I don't know yet. I hope the positive scenario will be come into reality, but I'm not sure about it. Does that answer your question a bit?
Yes. Vera, would you like to add something here?
Yeah, I think, of course, I would not elaborate again about what Jens just described. You know, the two directions, and of course, we all hope that the positive option will be the actual one. But I think in practical ways, probably most of us would prefer always to meet each other whenever possible. Maybe a lot more support during the time in between those meetings will now be done electronically or digitally. But other than that, I think all of us would prefer to meet each other, first of all, because we are human beings. We need those social activities. I think the added values and the communication is much better when you meet each other, even though we managed to somehow develop this collaboration only online. Usually it's very difficult. So I think we just have to take the best ingredients that each one of the options can offer us and somehow create a complete solution that includes all of them. But mainly in research, of course, it is very important for the researchers to see each other, and I really hope that the funding for research and development will not be cut, because it will have an impact on everybody, on all of us, in the academia and outside of the academia. So I really hope it will not be the case. And you know, all the networking of researchers, it is so important to develop new ideas and new solutions, and you know, to do some progress, to make some progress.
Absolutely. So I think I would like to take your positive outlooks as a kind of closing remark, like what Verit said, taking the best ingredients from both worlds, like, let's say, and how Jens predicted it, more projects, more diverse projects for the future, because this is, I think, the best possible scenario which we all should hope for, and hopefully all will perceive. So in that sense, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much, Verit and Jens, for this very personal insight, and also this very optimistic insight and outlook in many ways. It was a very pleasant discussion round, I would say. And also thank you very, very much to Sandra Simovic and the entire team of the Israeli Consulate for giving us this platform. Thank you, Toda Rabah, and goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.